And today, so I'm going to explain a couple of things of an idea I have of how to do content going forward. What I'm doing content wise isn't necessarily about what gets the most views, but what is the most consistent for the community that I have and the DPS community overall, my sharpshooters. So I want to make sure that you guys are getting content from me. And I know I have not been consistent with that, and that's my bad. I apologize. But I'm going to get better with it. And I think getting better with it is just about being more efficient because, I play my games, and for this hobby, I'm more inclined to make sure that I'm playing the games I want to play than I'm doing the content creation side of things. And I feel like that's valid for someone who is a gamer and people recognize you as a gamer. People can disagree with me, all day, all night. People can call me an idiot. People can call me a moron for the things I may feel, or, people can say, that guy's highly intelligent for his opinion, whatever. I don't care. But what people won't say is that I'm not a gamer. And so in being a gamer, I want to make sure I'm doing those things first. And in doing so, I need to find a way to be a content creator that is giving people content on a consistent basis and delivering like gaming opinions as well as gaming content that you guys are looking for, and doing so in an efficient way that kind of helps a father of three and husband be able to get like content out there. So that's what I'm working on. So this is what I'm doing so far, and we'll see how it works. I'm gonna try this for a week, and if it really works, as far as not having me overwhelmed with everything I have to do, then so be it. It'll be the method going forward. But I need to get back to doing lunchtime with SloMos because I love doing those, and so but also, I have other things I'm trying to do, like the road to Borderlands 4, which is me playing through Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I haven't finished Borderlands 1. And so with all these things that I got juggled, I figured, why not utilize all the social media platforms that I'm on in a more efficient way? And so what does that mean? What that means is, why don't I stream Lunchtime with SloMo live on Twitch, and then also in the same stream, do the Borderlands stuff, or in the future, any other games I may be playing. And then later on, I can edit those, that video into two separate videos and upload them to YouTube. So this Lunchtime with SloMo was done live on a Monday, and it's going to show up on the SloMo Backslap YouTube channel tomorrow at lunchtime. So it's still a lunchtime show. It's just, on two different platforms. And if you want to be a part of the conversation live, then you come to Twitch, and we talk about these things live here. But if that's not your bag, then you can just always engage with the conversation in the comment section on YouTube the next day. And additionally, I can also play those games, and then that would be a separate video of the YouTube stream that isn't like me sitting there just if you care to watch me sit here and tinker with my skill tree with Lilith in Borderlands 1, cool. But if you want to just kind of skip that part and just get to the me, actually killing people, cool. That's cool too. It works both ways. So that's what we got going on. That's what I plan on doing. And I'll just go ahead and get into it then, right? So today's stream is this lunchtime with SloMo. It's going to be about some comments that we've got. Everyone seems to be discussing in great detail comments from former Xbox executives for their opinions in regards to what's going on with Xbox, the future of Xbox. And it's not that the things that they're saying seem to be unique or different than what other people have said, but they are people who have worked for the platform and had a measure of agency in the future of said platform in the past, and therefore their opinions do hold a bit more weight than just your typical fanboy that is talking that talk, whether it's for or against a platform on Twitter or any other social media platform. That said, one of the videos that seems to be getting a lot of pushback, a lot of discussion, is from her name's Laura Fryer, I believe. Laura Fryer. She did a video discussing a lot of different things about Xbox's future, the marketing, the PR, in response to the Xbox Ally, the Xbox ROG Ally X, the Xbox Meta Quest 3S, 3S, and so on and so forth. She believes that hardware is not going to be in the cards long term for Microsoft and Xbox. She believes the platform is dying. These are things that Mike Ybarra has also said. Mike Ybarra has been critical of the strategy of everything is an Xbox. This is an Xbox kind of marketing campaign that he's said on Twitter that when people think of Xbox, they think of a video game console, and that trying to create a narrative that is not the case, or to try to change the minds of the common consumer simply won't work. And so a lot of things that I have to say about this, but I love to get into the minutia of the actual details of the conversation. But what I'm noticing is that a lot of people are choosing a really weak method of attacking the argument, which is not really attacking the argument, they're attacking the person. So I've seen people which I think is somewhat sexist, that they're like, oh, well, she's just mad because she didn't get promoted as a woman, and therefore this is her being bitter. I've seen people say that she wanted a promotion and she didn't get one, so therefore that's why. This is similar things have been said about Mike Ybarra as well, and that's why she's saying what she's saying. Now, someone having a motivation that is what they're saying, but why they're saying what they're saying, but not necessarily like the actual meat of what their argument is, are two different things. So if I say, I'm a Washington Redskins / Commanders fan, so y'all gonna have to bear with me on this one. If I say the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles suck, and I hate both teams, you can say, well, you believe they suck because you hate both teams. That's why you're saying what you're saying. That doesn't change the fact of whether they suck or not. The Giants suck objectively. The Eagles do not suck objectively. But you see how I'm saying this because of how my personal feeling about those teams doesn't change whether it's true or not. Likewise, with Laura and Mike Ybarra, the things they are saying, whether it's true or not, they have a bone to pick with the platform or the leadership team that's there. It's irrelevant, because the argument's the argument. Is it true? Is it not true? That is the point. And so let me bring up a tweet I made this morning, because I just got kind of tired of seeing people make the same arguments that don't make any sense, that don't hold any weight. When a counter argument targets the reasons behind someone's statement rather than addressing the statement itself, it often indicates a lack of substantive rebuttal to the original claim. If a former executive of a company has criticisms of the current direction of said company, claiming they are simply bitter to dismiss their claims provides nothing that states that they are actually wrong. Too many of you use this poorly conceived tactic because you lack the ability to comprehend you shouldn't be defending corporations who don't know or care about you. Now, shout out to who was it? It was Free Jack, who agreed with me up to the last part. And he said, like, with you up to the last part, the old greedy corpo that doesn't know who you are and made about someone's point is another deflection tactic from the topic. Address the statement itself, as you said. And he's right. The first two parts of my statement are not necessarily the same thing as the last part. The last part is my opinion on why people are using this poorly conceived tactic. That said, it still remains that the tactic being used is poorly conceived. It is not actually addressing the things that these executives are saying. This applies across the board, especially when it comes to online discourse, with various things that people are emotional about, and they lose the ability, normally intelligent people who lose the ability to discuss things in an intelligent manner, even trying to dismiss other people's intelligence because they simply don't agree with them when they've yet to actually put forth a relevant argument that actually makes sense and actually proves why they're so intelligent. But let's not get there, right? So this is how this stuff works, because this happened a week ago when I was discussing, I'm on my vacation chilling, and I discussed, this. I see a very good video, technical analysis of the Switch 2 screen, which another video has come out to even show just how badly that screen really is compared to other handheld devices. And people tried to call me, oh, you're just engagement baiting. Based on what? I don't tweet all day long. I don't send a lot of messages. How did you determine this is engagement bait? And even if it was engagement bait, it's still accurate information. So let's say I was just trying to get attention, and because I have Twitter Blue, that even though I don't have monetization for Twitter Blue, I only got it so I could write longer messages and occasionally stream my streams to Twitter, sorry. But regardless of that, what if I was engagement baiting? Does it matter? How does that change the statement that's being made? Statements that I didn't even make. I simply posted a clip from a video that showed actual technical analysis of the Switch 2 screen and how bad it was and how slow the response time is and how HDR in the HDR and isn't real HDR. Exactly how is that somehow irrelevant because someone's engagement farming? This is how people choose to dismiss arguments they can't defend or that they can't counter. They have no defense for it, so they choose to act like it doesn't exist, or the person that's saying it is irrelevant. Therefore, we're not going to discuss it because what you're saying doesn't matter, because what you're saying is you're only saying it because you have a bone to pick. And people who are emotional about a brand or a product can't see beyond, oh, well, you're doing this for X reason, because they are defending it for the opposite reason. They're defending these things simply because they're emotional about the brand and feel some or product and feel some reason that they have to choose to defend it. So now that I got that out of the way, and now that I've addressed the really sad state of affairs of online discourse, where you make a statement and instead of people replying to your statement, they simply say, oh, you're only saying this because I somehow know that you have a personal reason for it that I can't prove, but I'm going to make it the reason why I choose not to engage with you, which is fine. You do that. Just understand that people see it for what it is. But let's really break down what is being said. Some of the statements that Laura has made aren't new statements to me. There are things that people have been saying for a while. There are things that I have been in discussions with people who were aware of the changes that Xbox was making internally, and are now being made public over a year ago. While others were discussing if it was really going to be 4 games going to PlayStation, I and others were already aware that it was more than 4 games. And we were discussing these things about the changes they were making to Xbox UI, the changes they were making to Xbox PC app in general, trying to take on Steam OS, integrating Steam into and Epic Game Store and other storefronts into the Xbox UI, the implications of that. What does it really mean overall? Calling, a PC handheld in Xbox and all these other devices in Xbox. These are things that we've been discussing. A lot of people have been discussing for a while. So nothing that Laura said was new to me, at least. But let me present some things that maybe the current online discourse is a few pages behind on. And they'll get there eventually. But, as these things happen, these conversations move organically and they aren't quite there yet. So let me just kind of push things forward a little bit. Donnell Brown, what's going on? He said, we want Carson Wentz. What do you want Carson Wentz for? To do what? Some things to consider here. Let's talk about whole Xbox is not going to make hardware anymore thing. Okay, so let's discuss that. Technically, the Xbox ROG Ally X and Xbox ROG Ally are not being made by Microsoft. They're being made by ASUS. What Xbox is contributing to this is software. They're contributing the operating system that you interface with, and they're contributing the additional software and tools that you would use to make the experience feel more like a console-like experience. So in this case, this is not hardware that they are making. Also, it wouldn't be a insane leap in logic, and of course, this is just a prediction, and not even a prediction, just a potential thing that could happen. I'm not saying it will, but what if ASUS also ends up making this what they would consider an Xbox console, and some people think it's going to come in 2026. I would say likely 2027. But this device that I would call it an under the TV gaming device. Let's call it that. The under the TV, non-handheld, non-mobile gaming device they're going to make. I don't call it a console because it's essentially running the Xbox UI that the PC app will be running. And yes, for those who believe, the Xbox, all the Xboxes have been running a Windows kernel. I'm like, although that's true, the games you play are not PC games. This new Xbox will be playing the PC version of games. So that's where it's different. And the reason why it's different is because there are games that you may have purchased this year on an Xbox that may not be playable on this device due to the fact that the Xbox PC environment does not have these games natively on there, which is also why they want to make sure they integrate Steam and Epic Game Store and EA Play and all these other storefronts into it, so that it gives the appearance of having more games than are actually there, which still wouldn't change the fact that, for example, like an EA college football, that's it. EA college football does not come to PC. So therefore, if you're trying to play that game on this device, you can't. Play Anywhere is not going to save you if you bought the game on an Xbox. Play Anywhere also does not work for some Xbox first party games like Halo Guardians. That's not a Play Anywhere game. So Play Anywhere needs the actual effort of having a version of that game playable through the Xbox PC app. And when that app in itself is only really got the games it has in there because Microsoft makes them, and or because a game is going into Game Pass and they made sure that they got a version of that for Game Pass for the people who have Game Pass, that's not all the games. That's nowhere near the number of games that come out. And therefore, you're really missing out on a lot of content. What about GTA 6? GTA 6 comes out May of next year. Rockstar is not putting that game out on PC day and date. So what does that mean? That means that at Xbox Series X and S will have that game, but the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X will not have the game. And there's no guarantee by the time that the next Xbox under the TV device launches that GTA 6 will be out on PC. We don't know yet. So you're missing out on content, and or the versions of that content that comes to PC is not well optimized, like a Madden, for example, like an NBA 2K, for example. And the development of those games has you prioritizes console experience more than PC experience. Like, these are the things that you have to deal with, things that the console gamer has not thought about yet. Here's another one: how the version, when it comes to the certifications, the version of a game, even Xbox's own games, run better on Steam than they do on the Xbox PC app. And it's due to certifications where they use the same certification process that they have for the Xbox console, which is one SKU, versus the multiple SKU approach that you get at PC. There's no reason for them to have such a strict certification process on PC, and yet they do anyway, which causes issues with their own games that they make, in addition to third-party games. So much so that even diehard Xbox fans have chosen to go the Steam route to get their content than to use the Xbox app or to use the Xbox version of those games, even when they have a Game Pass subscription. And it is not an additional cost to them to play those games. There are Xbox gamers who have gone to PC and have chosen to purchase the game in Steam when they have Game Pass because of this, because the performance of some of these games have been poor, and because the versions of those games have missing features, missing DLSS upscaling, missing frame generation. Starfield itself is a great example of this. Starfield is their game. Starfield launched with just FSR upscaling with no DLSS and really poor optimization for NVIDIA and Intel hardware. When they started to implement DLSS finally, that update came to Steam first. How long did it take it to get to the Xbox PC app and Game Pass on PC? It took 2 weeks. Now, we'll say this, right? This has already been acknowledged by Xbox leadership, and they're working on that. Now, shortening and streamlining the certification process is good, but it doesn't fully change the fact that Steam does not have a certification process really. You could just update the game and put it up there. Now, also, Steam doesn't make any hardware. Valve doesn't make any hardware, so they don't give a damn if this new update breaks your machine, which is something that Xbox cares about, because they have a machine, the Xbox console, that they do make, and if something that they allow bricks it, they're kind of on the hook for that. But that kind of changes things when Asus is making this device, right? So who knows where that goes? But they're improving it, but there's only going to be so much improvement that you can make with that. Another issue is, like I said, the smaller footprint of the storefront means that third-party publishers don't find an incentive to put their games there. And even so much to the point that like Epic Game Store gets more games put on the platform. And Epic Game Store is an epic failure. Yeah, I use that pun. It's an epic failure. And even though Epic wouldn't admit it, it's basically just a Fortnite launcher. People engage with it and play mostly Fortnite. And if it didn't have Fortnite exclusive on it, it would be completely dead. But that still has more publishers and developers choosing to put their games there than the Xbox app. How do those dynamics change? Is that, when this new Xbox under the TV device comes out, is that going to push more developers or publishers to put their games in the Xbox PC store? Maybe. But that also could be determined upon the adoption of the install base into this device. Because again, the platform for that device is PC. It's not an Xbox console. So the version of the games that people are playing, let's say the next Assassin's Creed comes out in 2028. The version that you're playing of that game on an Xbox Series X is different than the version of the game you're going to play on this new Xbox device or the Xbox Ally. So the adoption of getting players in there, content in there, still guaranteed. These are things that people need to consider. These are arguments that people have been, or discussions that people have been having for some time about this. And so when you decide to say, well, this executive is just bitter for saying what they're saying, what you really need to be doing is addressing what she's saying and coming up with an argument that actually defends it, or defends your point, to think that that's irrelevant or that's not how quite things work. Okay, we'll prove that. Talk about that. Discuss that. If you are saying she provides no evidence, but then you also present arguments where you don't provide any evidence, but you're a hypocrite, bro. I guess this is how this works. Sly Crow in the chat says, would you buy an Xbox Windows Store game on PC? So no, right now, no, because there's almost no chance that there isn't a Steam version of the same game that's available, and the Steam version will likely have more updates, better optimized. That's another issue, that these games have less optimization, and more than likely will has a better experience on Steam. And what do I mean by that? Part of the reason why Steam is so good compared to other launchers, and I know I'm not a Steam glizzy gluzzer, like I've bought games through the Xbox app that when they weren't available elsewhere. I bought games on the Epic Game Store when they had like some massive discount or whatever, or when those games were timed exclusive. I don't care about the launcher, really. All I care about is that I don't care about having multiple launchers. I just care about just making sure that when I'm done with one, that it's not affecting the experience of other games that are on other launchers, which Steam does from time to time, and I have to call that out. But part of the things that Steam does that makes it so popular is that every single game that comes out on Steam has a very like a baseline suite of features that come with that game that you don't get anywhere else. And what I mean by that is that every single game, when I say every single game in Steam has a suite of features that you don't get on an Xbox app, this is what I mean. I'm gonna go to my library. So these are all the games I own on Steam. And if I go, I always have this kind of set up by like what I'm recently playing on down. So I just bought a couple of games. I just bought Star Wars Battlefront 2 through Steam sale. That was like $4. You know, that's another thing. Steam gets crazy sales. But if I click on that, and I haven't installed it yet, I'll install it in a little bit. Look at all this here that comes with this. There's support. So if I could go here, right, and, well, that's not that important. You get that on other devices, but there's guides on if you need to like figure something out. There's discussions, which is the big thing, where people are discussing the game. They can discuss how they feel about it. Devs interact with this stuff. And so devs can hear directly from players in regards to what's going on with the game. There's a community hub and the store page. All of this is here. And this, in addition to let me go to the store page, the reviews, which you have, it isn't just, hey, I'm giving this game a certain review and that's it. You can see how long someone has played the game. This person here says he does not recommend it, got nearly 17 hours on the game on the record. And that account is verified in having those hours and owning the game. If you don't own the game, you can't do a review. These are the kind of things that are important when it comes to how some PC gamers view the platform. And when you don't have all those features on Xbox, then people are like, well, it just adds to why you choose not to play in that ecosystem. Now, Xbox has an update. I will not do that quite yet. But let me show, here we go. So here's Call of Duty, right? This is Call of Duty HQ, where all the Call of Duties are all in once. And all in one package. And you see that even though the UI looks different, there's nothing else here. It's play it, see it in the store, or uninstall, share that you're playing it, add to play later. That's it. Like all the stuff I talked about with support, with guides, with discussions, that's not there. This is why the Steam app is superior to others. And Slacker, he says, so GOG is better than Epic? Yeah, absolutely. Also, because GOG is one of the very few, it might be the only storefront on PC where you actually really own your game. You really own that game. And they also have this thing they're doing where they actually make it so they try to restore older games that don't work on newer hardware. They try to make those games playable and you can buy it from there. No one else is doing that. I think that's fantastic. So you kind of see the differences here. By the way, on the Xbox, I own, I can't think of it. I don't know. I own hundreds of games on Xbox console. Hundreds and hundreds of games in my account. And that's just the digital ones. That's not like the physical ones that like aren't counted, don't show up in your library. When it comes to Play Anywhere, and people making a big deal about Play Anywhere as like this great feature that's going to really push things forward, a couple of things need to be recognized. One, with Play Anywhere, they're not even their own games or Play Anywhere games all across the board. Because where's Halo Guardians here? Because I own Halo Guardians. That's not here. But also, as well as Gears 1 through 3 are not here as well. I own those games. I have Gears Reloaded because I had Gears Ultimate Edition, but the 360 version of those games, as well as Gears 2 and 3, which only have a 360 version, are not here as well. like Play Anywhere is not a cure-all for everything, at least not in the current form that it's in right now. In addition to all the third-party games that I own, they are not here. Out of all the hundreds of games I own, only 28 are available to me through this Xbox PC app. So when people say, oh, well, Play Anywhere, it's like you have to get the sign-on of third-party publishers to make that work. And sure, as a consumer, we will love to not have to double dip. But as a publisher or developer, if someone wants to play their game on this is a whole new platform, they're going to say, pay me money. I have that available, which is why, even though I'm not on the insider tier to see this, why there will be somewhere around here check marks to check Steam, Epic Game Store, GOG, whatever. They will be here to allow you to see all the other games that you own. But as far as Xbox is concerned, as far as the platform is concerned, what Laura and Mikey Barr are saying is true. They're not making no money off of that. If there's a checkbox here for Steam for me to see that I own Star Wars Battlefront, what was the other Steam game? Another Steam game I had over there, the Division 2. But the Division 2's not here. Is the Division 2 even on the Xbox PC app? It is through Game Pass. Great, right? So that's there. But is let's say Assassin's Creed Shadows that just came out there? It is, right? Wait, it says view settings. Ubisoft PC Connect PC has run into an error. Clicking this button would take you to the extension settings. Okay, so that, like, a lot of this stuff also I do believe will get sorted out, right? That's things that will get sorted out. But what you have there is, if I own Assassin's Creed Shadows through Steam, which I do, this shows up here. If I have the check mark for it, would this please go away? No, I don't want. I'm not entering anything in the search. You know what? Hold up. Let me find a way that it won't go away. Stop. There's nothing here. Finally. Okay. Back there. It just, there's a lot of money that they're missing. And if you look at like the way consoles generate a lot of revenue right now, and we could look at like PlayStation and what they got going on. PlayStation showed, when they did their last earnings call, they showed a large segment of the revenue that they generate is generated through microtransactions off of live service games that they don't make. And that's really not any different than Xbox. When you look at Matt Piscatella's data from Circana, when you look at like the most played games, I actually saw this earlier today, actually. And if I can see if I can find it again, of like weekly active users. This was PlayStation and Xbox, right? This is weekly active users. And we know that MAUs, monthly active users, is very important because this is the games that people play the most. Therefore, the longer you play the game, the less issues you have with choosing to the more you play a game, especially if it's a game that was free to get into, the less issues you have continuing to spend money in that game, which is the reason why those games are the most profitable that are out there, and why all these publishers are chasing that kind of content. Now, let's look at the similarities for both sides. Fortnite, number 1 on both platforms. Call of Duty HQ, number 2 on both platforms. This is basically Black Ops 6 and Warzone combined. For PlayStation, NBA 2K5, number 3, which is number 7 on Xbox. Roblox is number 3 on Xbox, which is number 5 on PlayStation. Number 4 for both is Grand Theft Auto 5, a game that's 2 generations old. As I said, Roblox is number 4. Rainbow Six Siege on Xbox. Rainbow Six Siege on Xbox is number 6. Number 8 on PlayStation. Marvel Rivals is number 7 on PlayStation. Number 8 on Xbox. NBA 2K, we already talked about that. Madden is number 9 on both. Forza Horizon 5 is on Xbox at number 11, but not on PlayStation, even though it released very recently over there. That's interesting. WWE 2K25 is on PlayStation, but not on Xbox. Dead by Daylight's on both, 11 and 12. Rocket League is on both, 12 and 13. Apex Legends is on both, 14 and 13. And EA College Football, number 10 and number 14, respectively. And FC Firebreak broke in at number 15, but not at all over here. And Elden Ring, Night Rain is over here, but not over there. There's very little games that are only on one and not on the other. The majority of these games that I talked about are on both sides. These are the top 15 games being played. Why am I bringing this up? Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that this is a large portion of the revenue that's generated for consoles right now. Doesn't mean that exclusives are important. They are, especially if you're Nintendo, right? Because for Nintendo, which is Nintendo here? No, this is just Steam for Steam Mexico, Canada, and in the US, which you see some of the same games, but also very different games. That because the Steam community is just like their interests are different. But when it comes to consoles, a lot of the money that's being generated and the bulk of the revenues being generated is being generated off of services and revenue off of live service games. So this Xbox PC experience, you have a under the TV Xbox that you're making, as well as an Xbox Ally. Let's look at these games that Microsoft will no longer be getting revenue for because they're not in the Xbox app. Fortnite. Not getting revenue for that. Fortnite is exclusive to the Epic Game Store. That is the only reason the Epic Game Store even still exists. Epic is not giving up exclusivity for that. So you'll still be able to play this on your device. But as far as Xbox is concerned, the massive revenue they generate off of this is not going to get. Call of Duty, they still getting this because they own it. Roblox, done. You're not getting that. Roblox has a plugin, like a plugin in the Xbox store where you click on it. I know this because my son plays Roblox like religiously. Like you can click on it from there, but then it takes you to a whole different launcher for Roblox, and then you play Roblox from there. That's not really on the Xbox store. So they're not getting revenue from Roblox no more. These are some huge games to be missing revenue for. Grand Theft Auto 5, let's see. Is GTA... It's included in Game Pass. Okay, so it's there. Okay, so they could get revenue off of that. That's good. But as we already acknowledged with GTA 6, GTA 6 launches May of next year. That doesn't launch to Xbox first. So, sorry, not Xbox, but to PC at launch. They're going to be missing that. Minecraft, they own it. Rainbow Six Siege, I believe that's here. Rainbow Six. That's Extraction and yep, it's there. So they got Siege. Although, wait. See, they don't have Siege. It's like with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's included with Game Pass, but this version of it, you need to have the Ubisoft Connect app. So which essentially is running off the Ubisoft Connect app and not running natively through this Xbox PC app, which means the revenue is just going to Ubisoft. NBA 2K25. No, you don't have NBA 2K. at all. So that's a lot of money that's missing there. Marvel Rivals. You don't have Marvel Rivals, one of the biggest games that's come out last year in live service games, is not available on the Xbox PC app. It is available on Epic Games Store, is available on Steam. Madden. I'm pretty sure Madden's in there because EA Play is a part of Game Pass Ultimate. So I'm pretty sure there's a version of that on the Xbox app. Forza, of course, they have that. Dead by Daylight, I'm not sure, but let's find out. Dead by Daylight? They got Dead by Daylight. That's good. That's good. Rocket League. I think they have this. Wait, they might not, because if I remember correctly, Rocket League was purchased by Epic, and Epic took Rocket League off of Steam. So you'll be able to play, see, it's not here. You'll be able to play Rocket League through this. As I said before, if I was in a different tier, you can see all the different like check marks you could, show all of your PC library, but they wouldn't make any money off of it. So Rocket League, no. Apex Legends, yes, because that's EA. EA Sports College Football is not on PC at all. Like I'll show it to you, like EA College Football. So even though that's EA Sports FC, which is soccer, that's Madden, but that's it. You don't, and okay, Rematch is on there, but that's super popular right now. But you don't have EA College Football, which is not on PC at all. So this is a game that would be missing out of the games that are big games here. So, and then FC Firebreak is there because it launched in Game Pass. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roughly half of these top 15 games that generate the most revenue on the Xbox console would not be available on that device. That's the kind of money that they're giving away. Now, granted, more than likely, Microsoft don't care. They're not dumb. They know these things. But why are they still willing to go forward with this approach, knowing they're going to be messed out on so much more revenue? And this is why people tend to come to the conclusion that you just don't care about the Xbox platform if you're not caring about making money that way. If you're willing to forego so much of the revenue that you would have generated with a device where those games were natively being played through the storefront that you have, and you get a 30% cut of that, which actually would not even be a 30% cut on the Xbox PC app. If you guys remember, they mirrored what Epic is doing, where they don't, in order to try to get more developers and publishers to put their games on the Xbox PC app, which also has not worked for Epic and is not working for them either. They lowered their cut from 30% to something like 11 to 12%. They did that like maybe a year or two ago. I can't remember the exact date, but that's the way it is now. So even though a publisher is like, oh, I could get a bigger cut for the sales of my games on an Xbox PC storefront, they're still not doing it because people aren't buying games there. So it's just no like purpose to go like make sure put a version of your game there for nobody to buy it. These are things that people are choosing not to discuss, but instead to go to you're just saying this because you're bitter argument, which is just a lazy argument that is not based in any actual facts, but just opinions based off of things that people know. And it also doesn't actually change if the person that you're claiming is bitter is really bitter. Like, you have actual evidence of it. You know, it's not like you got screenshot DMs of them saying, I'm just saying this shit because I hate Xbox. I hate them now. I'm bitter because they fired me, or they forced me out, or they wouldn't promote me. And again, even if they are they wrong? Prove it. And that's all I got to say. If you want to engage with the conversation live, hey, come to the Twitch channel. We can talk this talk live. We can, I welcome everyone to come through. Really appreciate that. And peace.